is Lexi Bentley.
My name's Mike Strayer.
My name's Eden.
I'm Jonah.
I love art. I feel emotion when I look at art.
It's really important because it's like everywhere. It's a good way to express creativity.
Art's one of those things that is always with me in my life, and I've always enjoyed it since I was little.
I find it interesting, and I like doing art. I think it's really fun for me.
The painting makes me feel peaceful in a way that it's like she's just calm and everything's still.
Instantly I start thinking like, okay, what time period is this from? What part of the world was it painted in?
It makes me feel like she is at peace being there. It makes me feel that we're supposed to be in nature.
I think that's part of the charm of art is it's gonna elicit more questions than answers for most people.
It makes me feel calm, but also her face I feel like she seems lonely.
It kind of makes me think of chaos because I don't see main goal of like tree roots.
It's kind of like uneasy in a way. Feels not real and weird, and there's like a lot of like sharp edges. It's not blended a ton.
It kind of just feels like it was thrown on together.
It honestly makes me feel very curious. I like looking at it.
Confusion might be like a word that comes up a lot with this painting, but the forms kind of bring you in and then allows you to, I guess, imagine other things happening in the painting.
My interpretation is that he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know what he wanted. He couldn't see clearly kind of what the end goal was.
It makes it seem more, instead of calm and pretty and interesting, it makes it seem more chaotic, and it seems directionless now.
For me, it shows how he was, like, his state of mind. He was just kind of crazed and he didn't know what was going on.
It's interesting because like when you know something like that about an artist, it has a habit of like bestowing importance on this thing. For the most part, I can see like turbulence as a theme.
This one makes me feel like worried because it looks like these are big waves and the ship's gonna crash, and there's probably like a lot of people on that ship.
You know, there's kind of interesting light pattern up there in the top right-hand corner. You know, maybe that's, you know, elicits some hope or something like that.
It makes me feel nervous for the ship because it looks like it's tipping over. But then it also feels calming because the light is peeking through the clouds and the water is lighter at the front of the painting. So it's like a mix of worry and anxiety, but then a sense of calming knowing that it's gonna happen and it doesn't matter.
I mean, ships are pretty historical in our development as a human race. That's how we conquered new lands. That's how we found food in the ocean. Maybe it's a life journey.
I like this painting a lot. I guess, you know, for me it's exciting. I know it's a little like gruesome, but it kind of makes me feel excited in a scary way.
Makes me feel like scared and like worried. There's all these, well, the guy's like being stabbed, so it's just like scary.
It makes me think that there was some type of betrayal. He might have caused them harm, enough harm to make them want to kill him.
I think it's kind of a fear just because the two ladies seem so calm.
They look content, and they probably caught him in a very vulnerable state, especially given that they're fully clothed and he's in a bed.
There's no anger, but it's still like an action you would do when you are angry.
It was interesting to look at the different paintings and how they like show emotions, how artists can show emotions from just images and paintings.
Whenever I've been at museums, I never really think a lot about the background behind paintings, so I like that I've got to do that today.
Everything changes, style changes, like clothes and a lot of different roles. So time affects it because the people in these paintings, or the people painting them, have just felt different about the world.
But I think that they represent that we have the same struggles and feelings today as people have over the last several hundred or thousand years.
You know, what I think about these paintings is going to be totally different from the audience when they were made. You know, time has a way of sort of like redeeming certain artists and certain paintings and forgetting about others. And the way we see it now is just completely different from the context in which it was made.
From a more modern perspective, maybe we have more clarity of what these artists were trying to portray. Maybe there was much more info behind the paintings that got lost in time.
There's a little bit of a difference about how I feel about art. There's like paintings, but it's like the meaning behind them and why the artist had to paint them.
It makes me look a little bit closer into what the artist maybe was going through and what inspired the painting. So I think, yeah, it makes me think a little bit deeper.
I think it has given me more of a curiosity towards the behind the scenes, maybe towards people's lives instead of the art itself. And it makes me think a lot more about the people it has affected.